Hey everyone, it's Suzanne, and welcome to this week's episode of Comfortable and Confident and Inside and Out. Have you ever wondered how to come back after a serious illness or an injury? And what gratitude has to do with real wellness? Well, if so, then this show is for you. Our guest today is Danielle Matthews, and she has her miraculous recovery after a horrible accident that she went through that she is going to share with us how she thrives in her full recovery. But before we get started, you might be asking who I am and what this show is all about, and those are great questions. So I'm Suzanne Gundersen. I'm a holistic stress relief mentor, founder of Transform Connections. I'm a national wellness speaker. I'm group leader of this fabulous group called the Empowered Tapping Revolution, the women's only popular tapping Facebook group. I'm host of many online shows, this show, Comfortable, Confident, Inside and Out, also other shows called Let's Tap and Tapping Open House. So for the last 10 years, I've been helping women all over the world to relieve chronic stress and build confidence, get into alignment with who they truly are, and improve their relationships, their health, their mental health, their emotional health, their physical health, and help them move through important life transitions, all using energy tapping. So this show is Comfortable, Confident, Inside Out. It's a space where I bring on top mentors in the areas of health, wellness, business, and finance to help you learn their wisdom and guidance for how you too can be comfortable and confident everywhere you go. So our guest today is Danielle Matthews. She is a brain injury survivor, and she is a speaker who shares her amazing journey of self-discovery into full body and brain recovery. And so she joins us today with her passion, her good vibes, and everything that she's got to share with you on about her incredible recovery strategy. So, but before we get started, I just want to acknowledge anyone who's here. So thank you so much for listening and watching today. Definitely, share a like with us, thumbs up, say hi, say yes, ask us questions. Let us know that you're here. So Danielle, thank you so much for being here, and please tell us about yourself.
Well, Suzanne, thanks for offering for me to come on and share. I'm really excited to share with all of you. My intention for this evening is hopefully to, through sharing my story, be able to connect with you and allow something to resonate within your own life so you can take what I learned and apply it to your own journey. And, my story, it kind of all starts back about 7 years ago when I had this huge transformation, and it happened because of a car accident. I was actually hit by a drunk driver, and I sustained what's classified as a mild traumatic brain injury, which when I was told that, I'm like, that sounds like an oxymoron. There's nothing mild about this. But I was 23 years old, and I had a vibrant young woman. I had been living out in Colorado, really living my dream. I was teaching 6th grade math at the time, doing Teach for America. So I was in a low-income area out in Denver, and on the weekends I was snowboarding. So I was in Denver. And I actually happened to be home for summer vacation visiting my family when this accident happened. And I didn't realize it that first day, but it totally transformed my life and the path that I ended up taking now over the last almost 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. And I think, just to kind of put it into perspective, the things that I was dealing with a lot of physical symptoms. So I had migraines that were constant. I was sensitive to light and to noise. And when I say sensitive to light, I mean that even natural light. So I had blackout fabric actually in my bedroom covering up the windows because natural light was too much for me. I couldn't handle concentrating for more than about 10 minutes. I just got completely overwhelmed because my processing had slowed a lot. When I wanted to get a certain word out, a lot of times I could tell you what that word started with, but I couldn't get the word. I could talk all around it, give you the definition of it, but it just, my brain wouldn't pull it out. And I was very dizzy. And as you can imagine, feeling that way and living that way, it caused a deep depression. And part of it was because of the injury itself. And part of it was just situational because I ended up attempting to go back to work and found out very quickly that it was absolutely impossible. I couldn't remember the names of my kids. I couldn't remember what I had just said. And I ultimately had to move back in with my parents. And so at the age of 23, I lost my independence, and I lost really what I thought was myself, because it was everything that I had defined myself by. It was my work. I was passionate about my work. I felt that it was purposeful. I was giving back. I couldn't do any of that. I lost the ability to snowboard. I was actually told that if I were to snowboard again and hit my head again, I would risk this injury even worse, and to just kind of give up on ever getting back out there on the mountain. I lost all my friends because I physically moved. And a lot of times, you know, when you go through something, when your life changes that dramatically, I think it freaks a lot of people out. And even though people love you and they care about you, it almost scares them to think like, wow, that could happen to me. And they don't know how to relate. And so I felt very isolated and very alone. And yeah, I'm sure many of you out there can probably resonate. And if you can, you know, it's powerful to share, because a lot of people go through things. Maybe it's not as, you know, traumatic and obvious as a head-on collision like I was in. But there are things all the time that knock us off or make us feel isolated.
Yeah, and ladies, if you're listening, if there's something, maybe not a car accident, but some other type of event that you've experienced in your life that led you to feel alone and isolated, like, just share with us. Say, yes, that's me too. And we want to hear from you. We want to know what your stories are. So feel free to pop that into the chat window as well. So yeah, Danielle, that's got to be, you know, a scary place to be.
It really was. And you know, it's interesting. Someone explained to me one time, and it was years after my accident, but what they said was, you know, Danielle, it's like we're all like a big bucket or a pot, okay? And a lot of us identify with the contents of the container, the contents of what's in your pot or the contents of what's in your bucket. And for me, you know, that was so true. I was so identified with my work and with my friendships and with snowboarding. And all of a sudden, all of those things got removed. And I thought I was empty. You know, because you take everything out, all the contents out, you feel empty. And I will tell you what I realized is that, well, it turns out there's a whole other layer to us. And you are the bucket. You are that container. And you are just this space for the experiences of life to move through and for things to come in and out. And if you don't have attachment to them, it makes it a lot easier for life to sort of flow through you. And that is a lesson that I learned that has made moving forward now, it has given me such a different perspective. And so I'm sure you guys watching, like, what is in your bucket today? What are you so identified with? It's like, well, that's me. And I would just invite you to think about releasing back and thinking, well, you know, maybe another example is like being the sky, right? I'm not the weather patterns that are there. Yeah, I feel sunshine and rain and snow, but that's not me. They're all things that move through me, and they're all pieces of life.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I mean, especially in context of so many of the women who are in this group would appreciate that, you know, we have had, you know, years and years of being a part of something that was in our bucket that we really thought was who we were. And then that wasn't in our bucket anymore, whether it was a job or a family member or a partner or a place where we lived. And when something happened in our life, to have that shift on us, we felt that emptiness. We felt that, you know, that loss and disconnection, when truly the work is to be able to be more of a container for those things to fluidly move through us. But yet in our desire for connection, you know, we get attached, and then we don't know how to really let go until it's like in front of us that it's not there anymore. And then we're going through that transition of, how do I recover at that point?
Yeah, and even too, it's like the contents of our container can kind of drag us around in life and move us all over the place because we're so identified and caught up with them. And what I've learned to do, and what I hope, you know, this is maybe one piece that you can take with you, is that you need to realize that you can be at peace amidst all of it. And you just have to keep a grounded, centered feeling to realizing you're the bucket, realizing you're the sky, realizing there's more to you than any given thing that's flowing in and out.
Right. So you mentioned about how gratitude really was really helpful to you in your wellness journey. So could you share with us a little bit about how you figured that out and what you did to put that into practice for yourself?
Sure. So my journey was really, there was the physical recovery, and there was this mental, emotional, and spiritual recovery that I went through. And it was all a journey, and still is. But I'll tell you, you know, the biggest shift happened for me it was a little over a year after my accident. And it happened because I watched a movie. The movie was The Crash Reel. I don't know if anyone out there has seen that. It's a documentary. It's about a guy that was competing on the level of Shaun White in snowboarding. And they happened to be filming his run for the Olympics. And in one of his practice runs, he sustained brain injury, actually much worse than mine. And they captured it on camera, and they kept filming. And so it ended up being this incredible documentary of his recovery process. And when we got to the end of that documentary, I was just staring at the screen crying because here's this man, Kevin Pierce, who had been at the top of his sport, living his dreams, traveling around the world snowboarding, and he was somehow accepting and happy with his new life that was so different, so vastly different. And I thought, well, if he could do that, I must be able to somehow accept what's happened to me. And what I realized was that I had been resisting my reality. And, you know, if you're in resistance to reality, there's no access to peace and there's no way to move forward. It's like when you're sitting in traffic. If you're resisting the fact that there's traffic, you're going to be angry and upset the whole time you're sitting in it. But if you just go, okay, there's traffic, you know, maybe I'm going to listen to my favorite song, or now I've got some time to call my grandfather who I haven't talked to in a long time. As soon as you accept it, it doesn't mean you approve of it. Just, but you accept it, all of a sudden now you have access to peace and you have access to another way to be with that situation. And there's this equation that has come out of all of this for me, and it is this idea that there's this external world, and would you guys agree there's 99.999% of things we don't have control over in the external world, even though we might want to.
Yep. Even though we try.
Well, we try. Well, yes, we do. We try and manage and control everything, and the reality is we're not in control. So here's the equation: this external world, right, that we have no control over. And then you add in your internal response to that external world, and you get your reality. And for me, this was such a light bulb, because I went, wow, I have been resisting the fact that I've had a head injury, and I've been trying to push past it. And now if I just accept the fact that it's happened, and if my internal response to it is one of acceptance and one where I say, okay, there's just new rules on my life. All right, I can't go hang out with my friends, but I can go take my dog for a walk. You know, and started thinking about the things that I could do. All of a sudden my whole reality shifted. And I just want to, I'm kind of not answering your question just yet, but we'll get there, I promise, because this just made me think of something. You know, if you take any scenario, so something that you all might be dealing with, or, you know, let's take the example of you have this alcoholic father, all right? And he has 2 boys, and those boys grow up, and you follow up with them in their older age, and you look, and one of them has never touched a drop of alcohol in their entire life. And the other one has become an alcoholic. And if you ask both of them, why are you the way that you are? Why did you choose this for your life? Both of them would say, well, just look at who my father was. Right? This same external world of having an alcoholic father, which you can't do anything about. But one of the boys said, well, I'll never do that because I don't want my life to be that way. That was his internal response. And the other said, well, this is my role model. This is what I've grown up with. Of course, this is going to be my life. And their worlds, their realities are so vastly different. And so just realizing that you have a choice, and no one can steal that choice from you. It is your choice. You get to decide how you want to be in the situation and then move forward from there. And what I realized was that how I wanted to be in life was grateful, because I realized that life is precious and anything could happen tomorrow, like my accident, where I'm fortunate enough that I'm here, but it could very well have been a different scenario. And you just never know what tomorrow is going to bring. But if you can be grateful in every moment, and it's practice, because we are so kind of programmed to thinking about the negative things, and the negative things really get us spun up. But what I did, and I actually dug this up, this is my gratitude journal from 2014.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
This is going back. And I started on January 1st. And I promised myself, I said, okay, this year, every single day, I'm going to write one thing that I'm grateful for. Every single day. And that simple practice, I mean, it has shifted my world in ways that you cannot even imagine, because it retrains your brain. I mean, I used to have to sit down at the end of my day, and you got to remember, I was dealing with constant migraines. I couldn't focus. My world was me in a room. What are you grateful for in those moments? And it was very difficult sometimes for me to conjure up something to be grateful for. I mean, I was flipping through this, and one of these is like, I'm grateful for having strawberries in my salad today. You know, just this little exciting perk.
Yeah, and that, I think, is, I mean, it's so great that you kept a gratitude journal and you still have it to reflect on as such an important piece of your recovery. And that, you know, people think, well, I don't really have anything to be grateful for. And I'm like, it could be as simple as that. It could be strawberries in your salad. For me, sometimes it's getting all green lights on the way to the grocery store. You know, like, oh, yay, that was a great accomplishment today, you know?
Yeah.
Or that I appreciated that the ceiling fan that was keeping me cooler, or something. Just, it doesn't have to be these monumental, like, life-changing things that happen throughout the day. It just can be the small things. In fact, it is the small things that's going.
That's exactly right. So why don't we see, what are you guys grateful for today? I mean, go ahead, put in the comments. What is one thing that you can think of today that you have some gratitude for? And
Beautiful.
you throw it at you. Suzanne, what are you grateful for today?
Yeah, what I'm grateful for today is we are getting a little bit of an extended winter day down here, and it's a little bit cooler, and I still have my windows open, so I'm so appreciative of being able to just have yet one more day before we get into the heat of the Florida summer. So I'm very, very appreciative of the day where I can actually wear like a long sleeve sweater and like a window open. It's so nice. I so enjoy that. So very, it's just the temperature. I love it.
Simple things. For me, I'd say today I am grateful that my dog's tag has my phone number on it, because we were out walking this morning and he got very excited about something and I couldn't hold on to the leash. He was gone. I got a phone 3 minutes later. Hi, I'm out walking in Wickham Park, and I think I have your dog. I was like, oh, thank goodness I have my phone number on his tag. So that's what I'm grateful for today.
And you have to understand how she found this dog was, I think, in the woods. So he likes to explore, this dog. He's an explorer.
He does.
He likes to move around in life. So, well, yeah, so good that you've got that collar on him with the phone number. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, really just simple everyday things that we can actually sit in presence of that gratefulness and appreciation really can help us build on that momentum to make it even stronger in our lives.
Yeah, and I realized, like, where you put your focus, it grows. And so if you're focusing on your problem, if you're focusing on the fact that you just lost your job, okay, well, what I would invite you to think about is, well, what's another way you could respond to that? You could think, well, now I have all this free time. I can go see my family. I can go on that vacation I wanted to do. I can go volunteer. What can you do at this time while you're still finding your next job? But where you put your energy, if you put all your energy into complaining on Facebook about it and calling all your friends and trying to get people to kind of come in this pity party that you're having, it can just make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And so, because the energy's going there and it gets larger and you start to feel that. But if you switched and you decided, okay, rather than the negative things, let's focus on the things I'm grateful for. Let's focus on the positive aspects. I will tell you now, at the end of my day, when I think back about my day, I'm always smiling, because what sticks in my mind, because I've made this a habit now for the last however many years now, 3-4 years, it's all the positive pieces. Like the negative stuff just rolls off, because I know there's no point in focusing on it. It happened. I know that I'll deal with it and that life's going to keep moving forward. And I would rather be happy in my life. And so I always choose grateful. I always choose my internal response to be that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think that it's so important to create it as a habit at first, because it's not going to come natural to us, because life is going to be so overwhelming and overstimulating us that we don't know how to have that choice. But yet choice is an opportunity for us. But certainly I promote tapping as a technique to help us calm down enough to realize that we have choice and then make those choices that honor ourselves. But if you just start off with a daily habit of maybe keeping a journal, like Danielle started, and make it start tomorrow, March 19th, or whatever day you're watching this, make it start tomorrow, and start putting, your strawberry salad, in your book, and your dog tag, and green lights on the way to the grocery store, and the temperature that's pleasant for you every single day, and you make it a habit enough so that it becomes something that you automatically do. Right now, we automatically go to these very stressful places because we're just so overwhelmed and we're not getting ahead of it. So we have to be intentional and like kind of purposeful in how we engage with our lives in order to have that real peace and clarity and choice that we're all looking for.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
When you said intention and intentional, that's one thing that actually helped me a lot in my recovery as well, is the power of intention and learning the power of intention. And I learned it through something called Yoga Nidra, which is a guided meditation. And it was actually introduced to me because I had a lot of trouble falling asleep and my brain didn't turn off. I was exhausted all the time, but it wouldn't switch off. And so my mom did a guided meditation for me, this Yoga Nidra. And in the depths of the meditation, the idea behind meditation, I don't know if you guys have ever done it, I used to think that I could try to meditate, but sitting quietly, just my brain would just chatter away. This one is guided. So you're laying down and you're walked through it. And the goal of meditation, right, is to get to this space where the mind chatter stops and you're not asleep yet, but you've sort of lost your sense of self. And the idea is that in that space, your whole body, your whole being is very receptive. And so you can insert an intention. And so my mom and I use the intention, I am open and patient. Open to the things that are going to allow me to help in my healing process, patient as my body goes through this healing. And, you know, really open and patient is something that applies to so much and so many people. But we inserted that intention. And the way it's like, I think about, have you guys ever seen that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, Inception? It's like something's planted in the dream world. It's like that. It gets planted in there and then it just blooms out in your subconscious. And I teach yoga nidra classes now. I got certified in it because it was so profound for me. And the intention I always use in my group classes is I am at peace amidst the chaos. To remind people, you are that sky, right? You are that bucket. You are peace amidst everything. And I can't tell you how many times I have had some of my students say, Danielle, I was at the office and everything was crazy. And I just went, wait, I'm at peace amidst the chaos. And they go, I don't even know where the thought came from. It just popped in. And that's the beauty of it. It's like, you don't have to do anything, but just allow it to sit in there. And then, you know, it sort of starts manifesting, which sounds crazy, except it's real and it works. And it also,
So true.
Yeah.
So there is that space that people understand what she's saying, that between, you know, you're alert and fully conscious, and when you're maybe drifting off a little bit into that daydream kind of space, that is where you relax this part of the mind that is kind of like this gatekeeper, like, oh, we're not letting anything in. And it kind of goes, oh, we can chill out. And then when you hear like a yoga nidra type of narrative or story, it can be very suggestive to you in a very pleasant way. So I know that you said that you teach classes in it. And do you have something that you'd like to share with this community about that a little bit more?
I guess the only thing I would add is that, you know, if that resonates or you all want to try it, I actually just put up on my website. So the website is brainbodyself.com. I always tell people I help you empower your brains, your bodies, and yourselves to try to use, you know, what I learned around my journey to help others. And the self piece is actually the yoga nidra. It's empowering each person and figuring out what intention do you need and how can you cultivate this feeling of peace in your life. And on my website now, I've just put up there one of the intentions being I am at peace amidst the chaos. And it's a 20-minute, because I figure 20 minutes is something we can all fit into our day. And that's the shortest one can be. 45 minutes is the longest. But I would invite you all to try it. It's on the self tab on my website. We can probably put a link down there at the bottom. And
we will.
Yeah, I would love to hear, you know, what it's like for you all. Just be in a quiet space when you do it. You don't want your phone ringing in the middle of you finding your peace. I promise you that.
Well, thank you for that. We'll definitely have all of Danielle's information linked in the description box of this video. If you're watching it on Facebook or YouTube, all of it will be in the description box there. That way you can connect with Danielle and have a link to her yoga nidra. It's a free audio. Is it an audio for them to listen to? An audio, so great. And well, I just want to say thank you, Danielle, for joining us today and being on with us and sharing your amazing recovery story and how delightful you are and how wonderful it is to speak with you. And what an inspiration to share with people who may be going through that emptiness, that loneliness, that feeling disconnected, that there is, you know, people who are real, like Danielle, who suffered, you know, a significant setback, but then found ways to move into real living. And, you know, I often mention kind of this expression of living with aliveness, which is the opposite of living in survival mode. And so when you're in survival mode, you're not able to get ahead and have those choices of opportunity for yourself. And so we want to get to that place of really, truly embodying living with aliveness. And it starts with a gratitude journal and maybe some yoga nidra for you. You know, share with us, you know, if this is something you think you can put into practice for you, or, you know, what you're going to do to start some small steps. We definitely want to stay engaged with you. And of course, if you have any questions for Danielle, you'll be able to connect with her with all the links that we'll put in the description box of this video. So, so thank you everyone for being here, and please make sure to like and comment and subscribe and share this video if you think it could be helpful for anyone else that you might know. And also, this show is Comfortable, Confident, Inside Out. It's exclusively on the Empowered Tapping Revolution and soon to also be shared onto YouTube. So you might be seeing it at either place. Currently, it's on Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook at the Empower Tapping Revolution. We hope to see you every single week, where we bring on more top mentors in areas of health, wellness, business, finance, to have them share their stories, their tips, their strategies to help you be more comfortable everywhere that you go. So Danielle, thank you so much again for being here. It was such a pleasure to speak with you today. And bye, ladies. We will see you on the next video.
Bye, everyone.